Welcome, everyone. It's really great to be with all of you today. Before we get started, we're going to do a quick introduction. I'm Janan. I'm the VP of Product here at Align, and I'm joined by my colleague, Brennan. Brennan is going to be the one giving us our deep dive into this product offering. So you'll hear from him a lot and a little bit later. First, let's take a quick look at what we're going to be covering today. So we'll talk a little bit about who we are as a company. We'll talk about a little bit of wireless tracking, generally speaking, and all the elements that come together to make this possible. And that'll go by fairly quickly so that I can hand the reins over to Brennan. And he's going to give us a demo, walk us through end to end really what this looks like and what this means to everyone here. And then he's got a sneak peek at something really exciting. So stay tuned for that. Also note, we do have time for Q&A at the end. And there is a Q&A window that you can open, and you can feel free to add questions anytime during the webinar. And then we will take that Q&A session time to answer as many things as we can. And if there are questions that we aren't able to or don't get to answer while we're on the webinar, we will be sure to follow up with everybody afterwards with those questions and answers. Now, a little bit about Align. We've been on our journey in construction and construction operations since 1991 with ToolWatch, and along the way have welcomed safety reports and Busy into our family, really bringing the full operational safety and workforce capabilities to our customers and the industry. And our product really is in the wireless tracking world that we're going to review today is really focused on solutions to some big problems that we see and we know that our customers face on a day-to-day basis on the job site. Reducing that tool loss and theft, via the ability to automate location tracking, making sure you know who's responsible for what. And then also automating some of these tasks that kind of weigh us down on a day-to-day basis, really freeing up our time to be working on the things we want to be working on. So if you think about when we have to take inventory, when we have to transfer our assets, when we have to go and do our billing and our data entry on that end. And really fundamentally just keeping the job site moving, keeping those people and those projects, getting what they need to get done, getting tools where they need to get to be placed on the project, and keeping those crews moving forward rather than hunting and pecking for what they need when they get there to get their job done. So there are a few different things going on within our offering. Obviously, we are leveraging hardware and software as part of this offering. And we're really focused on what we call Bluetooth or BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy, and GPS or Global Positioning System. These are two distinct technologies used for tracking and location services. BLE using Bluetooth Low Energy technology to communicate between devices over short distances, and GPS that relies on a network of satellites that are orbiting Earth to determine location. This type of technology has come a long way. Wireless technology tracking in general is much more powerful than it has ever been. Continues to evolve in this space, and it's really exciting to see. It's also become much more affordable, faster, easier to implement, and delivering massive cost savings and project efficiency. So we have customers using this today, and we have just a few examples of kind of what this looks like in the real world. We've got, as you can see here, a tag affixed to a piece of equipment. We've got this would be what we would call a wired gateway. And Brennan is going to take you through more of how does all this work and what does it really look like. This is a GPS tracker actually mounted underneath a truck for that location tracking. So the customer in this case is just really concerned about always knowing where the vehicle is, not necessarily other data points coming off the vehicle, but this is a really easy, straightforward, simple solution to get to that location information. So now, for the big moment and the exciting part of the webinar, I'm going to hand things off to Brennan, who's going to take us through the product. So Brennan, When you're ready, let me know and take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Janan. I am going to do a little switcheroo and turn my video off, so I'll make sure I have ample bandwidth during the demo. All right, so the moment you've all been waiting for, what is wireless tracking and how does it actually help you? So we're going to run through this. Janan hit a lot of the really good highlights of kind of at a high level what wireless tracking and GPS tracking can do for you. But we're going to dive into some depth here. So key points of wireless tracking and why you want to utilize wireless tracking to manage your assets is this gives you really good real-time data to see where your assets are, really understand what it is that's actually going on in the field. It's very easy in the fast-paced environments that we all live and work in, it's very easy for your data to get behind. And this is a tool that allows your data to stay up to date, which enables you to react quickly to any given situation. This also allows you, like I said, the reaction here is, being able to transfer assets to where they're needed. So if you know where things are, then you know how to get them to where they need to be. You can see assets that aren't where you think they are. And then you can also view lost asset information and understand where was it last, who saw it last, when was it seen last. And that gives you a lot more data to run down these items and really have a better track on recovery than you would have if the last data you have was, well, I transferred this thing to this location a couple months ago, but that's the last time we saw it. Wireless tracking gives you a lot more information to understand the path and track of these items. And then it also allows you to quickly see items that maybe aren't scanning when you think they should be scanning. So you can jump on these potential loss opportunities much quicker. And then we also have the ability to enable auto transfers, which is a really powerful tool to help clean up any human error that can come into play when moving assets from warehouse to job site or job site to job site. We all know that sometimes things get missed, and wireless tracking can really be a great tool to help clean up those misses. And now we can move on to the next slide. So here you're seeing kind of the data that you'll have at your fingertips. You can quickly and easily sort to just your wirelessly tracked items in what we call our item browser. So this is a really just high level view of, hey, I want to see all my things that are wirelessly tagged and that I'm tracking. I want to understand very quickly and at a glance, how long has it been since these have been scanned? Where were they last scanned? And then maybe some more in-depth information of, what's the history of their scans at that location, so on and so forth. And we'll talk a little bit more about what this data actually does for you in the coming slides. All right, you can move to the next slide. Okay, so what does wireless tracking actually do for you? So one of the biggest things that wireless tracking does is automates manual tasks. This is absolutely huge and where wireless tracking really can make a huge impact in your business. By eliminating manual tasks like inventory counts, you're taking a ton of labor-intensive work actions and reducing the need for them. So you can think about how difficult it is to get people on site to do a physical inventory and spend the time actually getting hands on every single item that's there, documenting that, and then getting that data back to perhaps the tool manager or whoever it is that needs to update your data. You're automating information that eliminates the need for those manual tasks. So you're automating that by allowing your tools to work for you, by telling the system, hey, I'm still here. I'm within range of this gateway. You don't need to look for me because you know where I am. So your tool is working for you and it's allowing you to spend less time looking for things, and you can spend much more time doing. This also improves your count accuracy. We all know how challenging getting accurate data into any given system can be. And when you are verifying thousands of things, and whether it's on a notepad and then you're getting it in an email and then updating it in a system, like there's a lot of space for human error. Wireless tracking really cuts out a lot of that potential for human error by, again, allowing your tools to work for you and update the Align platform themselves. This also takes a ton of kind of friction, I guess you could say, with various teams, and reduces the friction there. What I mean by that is, if you imagine trying to keep up with all the assets that are at different job sites as a tool manager, you're having to spend a lot of time running reports, getting those reports emailed out, following up with foremen or supers and making sure, hey, do you still have these things that we think you have? Or have you moved them to another job site? Or are they lost? What's going on in the field? We need our data to be updated to accurately reflect what it is that's going on at your job. And that can be for a variety of reasons. That can be for keeping the job costing for that project accurate and up to date. Or that could be, hey, we just need to know where these things are so that we can react in a timely manner and keep all of our projects on track. So now with wireless tracking, if your tools are updating the last scan and the age, and you know that things are where they are supposed to be, you don't have to spend that time running reports and emailing them out and doing all these manual tasks of running down, hey, will you go out and verify that you still have these things? And then from the field perspective, you're not having to take time away from building the thing that your customer is paying you to build to look around for your tools. Nobody wants to spend time doing that. We all want to spend time on our value added processes and practices all throughout the day. So wireless tracking is a huge tool there that kind of takes a lot of waste and energy out of your day-to-day actions and automates it for you. And then we hit on auto transfers earlier. So again, auto transfers are a really powerful tool that allow you to kind of clean up things that may have been missed. We all know that errors happen, and then also sometimes you have to be really flexible and you have to be able to move at the drop of a hat. So sometimes keeping data accuracy falls to the wayside. And then auto transfers are a great tool to automatically get that data up to speed. So what an auto transfer would be an item is at a specific location, it's pinging on a gateway there. When it moves to a different location and is within range of another gateway that the system knows is associated with that location, it will automatically transfer that asset from the location that it was at to the location that it is now at. So that really is a great tool to clean up your data automatically. That is something you can opt into. It's optional. You don't have to have that set up that way. So if you want to see those movements and see those warnings and kind of maybe ask questions like, hey, why is this thing showing up here, and get more data before you make those transfers, you can still do that. And then, like I said, all of this does a great job of improving your accuracy and efficiency of downstream tasks, specifically job cost and billing. So, if things have moved on to a different project, you really don't want to keep billing the previous project for those assets because they're not there anymore. That job should not be billed for that anymore. It should either be on the billing stream of the next job, or maybe that billing stream just closes because it's gone back to the warehouse. Regardless, this is a really powerful tool to help automate and really increase your efficiency with these downstream tasks. Okay, we can go to the next slide now. All right, automated inventory counts. So this is a look at the data that you would be able to see. So this is everything we just talked about in detail. Now this is, hey, what does that actually look like in the system? Like, I understand what you're saying. Great, wireless does all those things, but how does it do that? What does it look like? What would that mean for me if I were using this product? So here in the middle of the screen, you can see we have a few different columns that I'll call out that are really specific to, or not specific to, they're really the key data points that wireless tracking will update for you. So your age column here is how long has it been, how many days has it been since this thing has been scanned? So that might be a wireless scan. That could be a barcode scan from like an inventory count or a transfer. But wireless will interact with the age information in the system and update that. So you can see we have some really good visual indicators here. If I know my age is 0 on all these product or all these assets, I'm not really worried about, are these things where I think they are? Because I have some form of verification that, yep, this is when they were last seen, you're probably good. But then down at the bottom of the screen, you can see I have a cutout saw which hasn't been seen in 32 days. Maybe I need to do a little more digging and figure out what's going on there. The next column is the assignment column. So this is a really important and powerful data point in our system that a lot of things leverage. So what assignment is a location that you are saying your asset is at. So this is where those auto transfers come into play, or job cost and billing. So with job cost and billing, having something transferred to an assignment location, or to a project location, that's what's going to kick off a billing stream, and you're going to start billing that job for having that asset on site. Now you'll see in the next column, we have our last wireless scan location. So in the top row there, you can see that our assignment and our last wireless scan location aren't matching up here. And then that's highlighting for us in the column. So that gives us a really great visual call to action for, hey, this thing that you think is at your A-Basin launch project is actually at your main warehouse, and it was last scanned on the 24th. You may want to correct your data. Now, if I had auto transfer set up, once that asset showed up at the main warehouse, it would have automatically kicked off a transfer, and all that data would have been corrected based on what's actually physically happening in the world today. So as you can see, we have some really great and powerful tools here, some really good visual calls to action in the item browser. And with that, we can move to the next slide. All right. GPS and geofencing. This is really exciting. GPS is something that gets a lot of our customers pretty jazzed. Everybody's really excited about the opportunities that they see in the future for GPS. And we see it as a really powerful tool that has a great place in kind of wireless tracking tool belt, if you will. So GPS is generally going to be used on your high dollar or high value items. And by value, that could be something that's, hey, this is a really unique tool that's really critical to our operations. Maybe it's not super expensive, but if we were to lose it, it would have a tangible impact on our day-to-day operations. And then same thing, maybe it's a high dollar item, and if we were to lose it, then it would have a significant financial impact on a project. So what does GPS do? GPS is a great tool because it allows you to track items via satellite. So you're getting your satellite, your GPS coordinates from satellite, and then the GPS tracker is automatically updating the system no matter where it is. that asset does not have to be within range of a gateway. It's not interacting with any other hardware. So it could be right where you think it is in the middle of a project, or it could be in Timbuktu, and you'll be able to pull that item up and see it on a map. So it's a really powerful tool that really helps you understand where your things actually are and get a visual look into it, to understand, hey, this thing is where I think it is, or that asset's wandered off and we need to go get it. So it's a great tool for you. And now let's talk about geofences. So I'll give a really brief rundown on what a geofence is, and then we'll talk about how geofences and GPS trackers interact. So a geofence is something that you can set up on your own, and it's basically boundaries that you're setting for a location. So this location could be a stock location like a warehouse, or it could be a location like a project. And you're saying anything within these boundaries, I want to be considered a part of this project or warehouse or whatever that location may be. So what that means is when your GPS trackers are providing the system with their updated coordinates, we're able to pair that up with location data and say, hey, this coordinate is either within the bounds that you have set for this geofence. So these coordinates are within your boundaries of this location, or it's not. So that's really powerful, because what that allows us to do is trigger notifications. So we have notifications that can be triggered for assets that are assigned to a location with a geofence. When that tracker wanders outside your geofence and you get that updated information, our system can automatically send you an email or a text message to let you know that it's moved outside of that geofence. That may not be for nefarious reasons. That could be, hey, yep, I expected that. I'm glad to see that, our teams are moving that around. That's awesome. Progress is moving the way we need it to be. Or it could be, that's weird. Nobody's at that project right now. Seems like that thing's wandering off on its own. We better go find it. So it's a really powerful tool. And then we also have the ability to get notifications when assets are entering a geofence for the first time. So if you're managing a project and then you get a notification of, hey, this or these items that are tracked by GPS have shown up, you get that great notification, and it allows you to kind of react in real time of what's actually happening. All right, we can go to the next slide. So here's a good look at, this is kind of an exploded view of what we were looking at on the last side, but here's a look at how you can interact with your GPS tracked assets. So in this case, here's a truck that's got GPS attached to it, and you can see we can pull that item up and we can see on a map where that item is. And you can imagine how critical this capability is when you're needing to either just understand what it is that's going on with something or where something is because it's needed, or hey, this thing has wandered off and we need to find it. Okay, and we can go to the next slide. All right, and here's a look at what the notifications look like for our GPS devices. So here on the right on the screen, we have an item that's moved outside of the geofence for its assigned location. Again, that may not have been for nefarious reasons. It may have been something that's expected, or it could be, hey, that thing should not be moving. What's going on? But this is a great tool. We're really excited about the notifications that we have around this and how that can really help our customers react and stay nimble, and really improve their businesses and how they operate. So not losing things, or just keeping tabs of progress and making sure things are moving the way you expect them to move. So like I said, to reiterate, we have notifications for GPS trackers leaving a geofence or GPS trackers that are entering into a geofence. So, those notifications we talked about where, hey, I think, or I'm a supervisor at a location and I just want to know when things arrive here. Great tools to have in the tool belt. All right, we can go to the next slide. Okay, in summary, so Align wireless tracking reduces tool loss and saves time to keep your teams pushing projects forward. So this is just, a really great one sentence explanation of what it is that's going on. How does wireless tracking really help you? If you were to distill this down, what does wireless tracking do for you? It takes a ton of manual labor intensive tasks that you have to do on a day-to-day, sometimes even without thinking about it or realizing how much time they take, how much energy they take, and it automates it. It provides you real-time data so you don't have to do things that you're accustomed to doing because your data is up to date. You can see, hey, I know where that thing is. I don't need to spend time either looking for it or asking others to look for it because I know it's there and I can trust that information. And we do that by improving our tracking and visibility. Our GPSs and geofences. I hope you can really understand like the power that's kind of built into those tools, and how that helps you do the things we've been talking about. Obviously, reducing asset theft and loss is huge and on everyone's mind. Wireless tracking is an excellent tool to help reduce that. Notifications play into that for sure, having those notifications and allowing you to quickly jump on to things rather than finding out months and months later that something may have been lost. It's really powerful and helps you stay ahead of the game. And then automated inventory counts and transfers. Like I said, that automation is huge and it takes a ton of time that people are spending in their day-to-day and allows them to redirect that time and energy to things that are much more value driving. And then, we're working with making sure that this works with any tool or equipment manufacturer. All right, I think it's time for the sneak peek. All right, this is something that is near and dear to my heart. We're very excited about this. We are working diligently to have wireless tracking integrated into our mobile application. So what that means is you can now use your mobile device to supplement your wireless tracking and really become a powerful mobile tool to help you update all the data that we just talked about for your BLE wirelessly tracked items. Luckily for GPS, like we said, they don't rely on any other hardware. So these don't really interact. That GPS is standalone. You don't have to worry about it. But with your BLE tracked items, this is a great tool to use where you can utilize your mobile device and do scans. And rather than, like we said, with physical inventories, where you have to walk around, get physical hands-on, maybe scan a barcode or record an item number for uniquely tracked items, you can just start your scan once you've set your location, start walking around, and those items will start populating when your phone scans that Bluetooth tag. So we're really excited about this. We see this as a really powerful tool for you to be able to utilize to supplement your wireless tracking and really get those kind of hard to reach areas at locations. And then we're also adding in the ability to find and assign new tags from the mobile app. So that means that tags that are within range of that device, you'll be able to see them and say, oh, we have these tags. They're not assigned to a tool yet. Let's go ahead and start tracking them and assign them to a specific tool direct from the mobile app. So you don't have to interact with a laptop or whatever else it is you may be using to update that information in cloud. You can just use your mobile device to do that. All right. I think that's it for me, Janan.
Yeah, thanks, Brennan. We do have a link here that we sent out as well afterwards, but we are launching what we're calling our wireless tracking starter packs. There is a BLE starter pack and a GPS starter pack, and it comes along with our cloud platform. So if you're not yet a customer and using Align Cloud today, that would come along for the ride with this. And if anybody's interested, like I said, there will be a form you can fill out and let us know you're interested, and you can start working with some of this hardware and software combination that's so powerful. And thank you, Brennan, for taking us through all of those really great features. It's time for Q&A, and I do see that we've got 3 questions in the Q&A window. So I'll read them off, and Brennan, you probably can answer all these, but we can work together on that. So the first one that was actually asked and answered is, will the video be sent out to all attendees? So yes, the recording of this will be sent out when it's available after the webinar is complete. The next question that came in is, are these trackers available in different sizes or types? For example, small like barcode tags that we can add to formwork material. Brennan, you want to take that one?
So we do have a couple different form factors that we work with. They're not quite as small as barcodes because they do have, some hardware that's built into them. So they do have to be a little bit bigger than that. So some of our tags right now are in the like 1.5 by 1.5 length and width, and then like a 1/4 inch depth. So they're fairly small, but definitely, a barcode is obviously much smaller than that because it doesn't have any, chipset in it or anything like that. That's any form of smart technology that can communicate with devices around it.
Yeah, we'll say we are always looking at new form factors and doing research and testing with a bunch of different things.
Yes,
all shapes and sizes. So
yeah, and that's something the hardware for Bluetooth tracking has been evolving greatly over the past few years. So I would expect for that form factor to just get smaller and smaller as we move forward in time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the next question is, do you need gateways at each job?
So if you want to utilize wireless tracking at its best to really optimize it, then you would want to utilize gateways at any job site that you're trying to track your tools at. In Align, you don't have to have gateways. You don't have to utilize wireless tracking, but it's a tool to help you optimize your processes. So while you do not have to have a gateway, if you want to use wireless tracking, you would need a gateway at the job site so those tags can interact with the gateway, and the gateway will update the Align platform and give you that updated information.
And we could talk about a little bit about having wired and battery powered options.
Yeah, that's a great point. You want to get into that right now?
Yeah, I mean, just walk us through what those 2 options are.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 2 different gateway specific options right now. So we have wired gateways that plug into a wall, and they're really small. You can imagine them being like kind of like a wireless router booster size, not a full size router, but they're very small. They just plug into a standard outlet. You can mount them on the wall. Or we have battery powered gateways. Those battery powered gateways are waterproof, they're really rugged, and those are things that you could imagine utilizing in like a great example of utilizing those is actually in job boxes. So I was with a customer a few months ago, and they had placed them in their job boxes in a high rise, and they had those job boxes kind of split out a few floors apart so that when tools were moving around the job site from floor to floor, they were occasionally hitting the gateways, the battery powered gateways that were in the job boxes, and updating that information in our cloud site.
Right. All right, next question. Someone's asking what equipment is needed to operate the automated inventory counts and transfers. So maybe you could walk through a little bit more around how does that workflow get automated?
Sure. So the equipment that's needed is you need a tag on a uniquely tracked item, and you need gateways at different locations. From there, inside the system, you have the ability to turn on or off those auto transfers. With the inventory counts, it's not necessarily an actual inventory count that's being triggered and like you're going to have a document of it. What it's doing is the system will automatically, once you have wireless tracking in place and tags are scanning on gateways, they will automatically be updating the last scan information that we walked through. But those auto transfers, what you need, same thing as any of the scanning is, you need a tag, you need gateways. So when a tag moves from gateway to gateway, if you've enabled it, that's what kicks off an auto transfer. And that's specifically with the BLE wireless tracking. With GPS, the hardware you need is that GPS tracker, and then it's automatically on its own, updating that information in the platform. And same thing with the BLE tags, you can choose to enable auto transfers.
Right. What is the range on the BLE gateways?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that. So what we've seen is unobstructed, they can go out to around 200-foot radius. Generally in like a normal working condition, you're going to see a little bit less of a radius than that, probably about 150 feet, because you do have things that are in the way and blocking those signals. But 150 is the number that I would say is kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah, great. There's a question on RFID. Are there any plans for RFID? Bluetooth trackers seem too large to fit into a drill.
So as it is today, we can support RFID if you choose to go that route. We don't provide any of that hardware, but we do have customers who are utilizing RFID today, and we can absolutely help you with that.
A current customer is asking how we add the geofences. They weren't sure where you do that in Align.
Sure, that's a great question. So in Align, when you go to your location management and admin or administration, you can go into edit the location, and then there should be a map tab that you can select, and then there's a checkbox to enable a geofence, and then you set the radius that you want for that geofence.
Cool. Okay, let's see. The next question is, can you show the options for the tags? Brennan, did we have a slide that had I think maybe on that starter pack slide might be some examples of them. So we are showing, I think in this one with the graph paper, we're showing one of the smaller tags and the wired gateway, right?
That's correct.
And then in the GPS starter, this is one of the GPS trackers. So that's some more a look into it. What tier is the service available?
So any tier can utilize wireless tracking.
Great. Is it possible to have all devices tracked by GPS on a single map for one location?
So that's something we are actively working on. We don't have that at this moment, but that is coming.
Yeah. Do you anticipate connecting to cordless equipment batteries that have BLE natively built in?
Yes, we are very excited and we do anticipate connecting to those tools.
Yes. That's a big part of what we're supporting is, no matter what you've got, we can help you to track it, right? Next question is internet accessibility required?
So for your wireless or for your gateways and the tags and those interactions, yes, internet accessibility is required because that's how the gateways are updating the platform.
The reception range of a powered gateway, I think we may have answered that.
Yeah, that's 150.
That's 150 is the optimal.
That's 150-foot radius, and that's kind of like a sphere. So like for example, the high-rise project that I kind of gave the example on earlier, there were things on different floors from the job box that were pinging. So it was really exciting to see like, oh, this one's pinging on this, and we know it's on a different floor. But that is kind of imagine it as like 150-foot radius of a sphere.
Yeah, okay. Somebody's wondering where they can find information about our BLE tags. I think we will have, the best way to get all the details is to reach out to support@aligntech.co, and we can connect you with somebody who can walk you through all of those specs and everything. We'll probably also start having more additional information more readily accessible on the website. Let's see. If we have a bunch of wireless tag tools at a project without a gateway, can users still use their mobile devices to passively scan any Bluetooth tag tools in range, even if a gateway doesn't exist?
So that's a great question. I'm really glad that you asked that question. You can use your mobile device to do a scan, but it is not passive. You have to actually have the mobile device out, open up the Align app, and manually start a scan. So we don't have the ability to have a passive scan constantly going, constantly draining your mobile device battery in the background. But you do have the ability to manually trigger a scan and kind of do that as you walk around.
Right. Okay, battery life of BLE tags, and will they give low battery warnings?
So the battery life of our BLE tags is around 2 years. And we are getting the ability to have the battery life shown in the platform. So you will have warnings of, hey, this battery is low, you probably want to change it.
Will the GPS tracked units have the capability to scan for BLE?
At this point, they do not.
Doesn't mean they won't, but they don't. They don't today.
Don't today.
Okay, in case of billing, if a drill moves between two job sites with an employee, will the item then transfer back and forth and then trigger billing to the original site twice? Drill moves between two job sites. So it will bill at the first job site when it gets there, right? It's been transferred. It will bill. And then when it moves with an employee to the second location, it will bill at the second location. So it's right. So we're transferring from point A to point B. Point A gets billed first, point B gets billed next. If it goes back to A, it starts billing again.
Correct.
That answers the question. And I think on some of these billing questions, if you want to dig a little bit deeper, please let us know, reach out to us after the webinar, and we can schedule some time to kind of dig into that with you. Will this new feature be part of your integration with Vista to be able to charge rental for our projects, or do we have to mainly add charges to our accounting system? That's a good question. I'll follow up on that. I would imagine any of those charges that that anything that's currently part of the Vista integration today, it's still charges, it's still leveraging existing accounting that you're already doing. So I would imagine that it would, but I'll definitely dig into that, make sure I'm clear on the question so I get the right answer. The monthly, how much is the monthly subscription with either starter pack? So it's just part of that price. So that one price that you see there on the screen is the price for everything. So it's all inclusive there. And then if you're currently a customer, and these starter packs are really great for people who are not currently a customer of Align. But if you're currently a customer and you're interested in how much, if I want to get X number of GPS devices with my current subscription or BLE, that would be kind of a separate conversation so we can build out the right fit for you. So this is sort of like a, grab and go and get up and running with Align and our wireless tracking product. And for current customers, your customer success manager is the best person to connect with first. And then of course they can always pull us in to have deeper conversations. Is there an option to set automatic transfers to specific projects?
Right now that's set at a company level, so it's not a specific project toggle, if you will. It is set at the company level, and that would trigger for any job site or warehouse that you have set up on wireless tracking.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So lots of questions here. I'm hoping I'm not missing anything. I think a few people asked a question about how that gateway, we had a picture, maybe I can go back to it, of the GPS tracker in a truck. This one here. How was this put into this truck, and what are there any other ways of thinking about putting, can a gateway be put in a truck? That's one question. And then how was this gateway mounted under this truck? Or
So
this
yes,
GPS tracker, right?
Yeah. You can utilize gateways inside of trucks. So we have like battery powered gateways, which are a great option for that. Depending on the use case and organization, you could even use a wall mounted gateway possibly. Like in my truck, I've got a standard outlet, so I'd be able to plug a gateway in and it would be able to scan while that truck is running. And then this one, I'm not exactly sure how it was mounted. We've seen a lot of different things. So those trackers do have a nice flange there with some screw holes, so you can mount with rivets or screws or bolts. If you wanted to go crazy with it, you could epoxy them on. So there are lots of different attachment methods for our trackers and tags.
Okay. Next one is, how often will the pings be recorded? I.e., if a gang box drives by a gateway, will the tags be registered?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it varies depending on the device. And the reason it varies is with the battery powered devices, like your main energy draw is those scans and updates. So you have to kind of play the weight or the balancing game of, how often do we need scans versus how much battery life do we want to draw or reduce. So for the plugged in gateways, kind of shift here, for the wall mounted plugged in gateways, those scan every 10 minutes. And then the battery powered gateways, those are going to scan I believe that's every 4 hours.
Trying to get back to that picture. This is the plugged-in gateway.
Yeah.
I think we don't have a picture of a battery-powered gateway, but just to give some visual here.
It looks pretty much the same as the GPS tracker that we have on the right.
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there's one more question. Any compatibility with Milwaukee One Key, Android tiles, or AirTags?
We're working on lots of exciting things.
Yeah, I think we haven't tested Android tiles or AirTags specifically with all these workflows yet. I wouldn't imagine, you know, we could try, but we do encourage customers and people who are not customers who are interested, if they've already got some sort of a system set up, we should be able to work with it. So if they've already got tiles sticking on pieces of equipment, we'd love to know so that we can help and see if we can work with that, or help you get up and running with our hardware. All right, let's see. I think that's it. Yes, so lots of great questions. This is a really exciting conversation for us to have today, Brennan, and thank you so much for walking us through all of that good stuff. As I mentioned, the webinar was recorded and will be available as soon as that recording comes through to us. And then we'll also follow up if you do have interest in the starter packs or just in learning more about this. If you're a current customer, you can reach right out to your customer success manager. If you would like to learn about the starter packs, there will be a form that you can fill out so you can get on the list. And yeah, we're just excited to have you join us today so we can introduce you to this new product. And it's really the beginning of this journey for us. And it's been an exciting one. We've got a lot of great customers already up and running, and just can't wait to see more and more take advantage of this value add. So thank you all for coming today. I'm gonna end the recording, I think. I'm not sure how to do that on my end, but I'll figure it out. And we really appreciate your time today. Have a great rest of your week, and we look forward to following up. Thank you.
So
Thanks, Brennan.